What's going on, guys? It's Jeff for MadHattersReef.com, and today we're going to be talking about aquarium plumbing. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the 220 gallon display build. And today we're going to be talking about aquarium plumbing, and I'm going to need to break it up over two videos. I just didn't want to put together a 30-minute video. So I'm going to break it up over two videos. This one's going to be about the return pump and the plumbing involved with that. And the next video will be involved with the overflow box down to the sump. And for most of you that have been following the build, you know that I picked up the EcoTech Marine Vectra M1, which is a DC return pump, which DC stands for direct current. And one of the biggest benefits of a DC pump is it has a controller, which allows you to manipulate the speed or the flow rate of the return pump. And this offers you a interesting opportunity when you are putting the plumbing together for your aquarium. And in short, what it does is it eliminates the need for a ball valve in your return plumbing. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that still want to use them for whatever reason, but it really, with a DC pump, it's no longer necessary. So what I'm doing right here is I'm basically dry fitting the piping before I go out and start gluing it together, and just kind of getting an idea of what I need before I make any permanent decisions. And a lot of what I did with my return piping is kept it really simple. And with that, having the Vectra M1, that really afforded me the opportunity to make it just basically straight piping. I can disconnect it at the pump to make it easier to remove the pump if need be, but that's about the extent of it. Any type of adjustments that I would need to make further on, I didn't use any union valves whatsoever. I'll probably pay for that possibly down the road, but I didn't feel the need to have them on this build. The piping that I used for it too was 3/4, so it wasn't incredibly expensive, so it wouldn't cost me an arm and a leg to replace it. Right here, what I'm doing is I am connecting the part that goes into the aquarium. And what it is doing is it's going to create a little bit of a hook for me. So on the bottom of the pipe where it connects to the return pump, it kind of hangs there so I can, work freely. And this wasn't something that I thought of initially, but as I was putting it together, I thought it'd be pretty neat to have piping that runs the length of the aquarium, then goes up and kind of enters the aquarium towards the middle of it. These pipe cutters are worth every penny. They make the plumbing of an aquarium very, very easy, and it definitely speeds up the time. Because if you had to run to a saw or had to saw every single one of these pieces, it would just dramatically increase the time that it would take to plumb an aquarium. And after I got that piece cut and got that T onto the pipe, all I needed to do really was make sure that it was snug, so once I go back and re-glue it, that it fits properly. And after I got that done, I needed to get a measurement on the length of pipe that was going to be running the length of the aquarium. And like I said, nothing was measured out except for the couple times that I couldn't actually see anything. Everything was done by eye. And this is what it looked like when it was done. I had a hard time getting in there with a camera as I was doing it, so I just kind of did it and then went back in afterwards and filmed it. And I'm pretty happy overall with how it turned out. The only thing I think that I would do differently is I would probably increase the piping to 1 inch at a certain spot on the back of the aquarium, just to get a little bit more flow to the aquarium. I'm overall still very happy with how it turned out. And here's a quick look of how it looks all together.
Okay.
Right here where the water enters the display tank, I wanted to make sure that I put a siphon break on there, and what that does is basically it breaks the siphon. If the power were to go out, the water doesn't completely drain into the sump, at least to the lowest point that the piping goes. After I got everything dry fitted and I was happy with the way it looked, I started disconnecting so I could glue everything together. And when I was gluing stuff together, I basically tried to keep it in like parts. So I had like, well, not parts, but sections. And I would glue those sections together and then reinstall them. And this was the first time I've glued piping in a long time, so it was kind of messy. But I definitely got the hang of it towards the end. But it's in the back of the aquarium, and nobody's going to see it anyways, unless they're being nosy.
Okay.
So after I got everything together and glued into sections, it was basically time to install it and glue the final pieces together. And right here, this is where the return pump connects to the first standpipe that goes up into the display tank. And I did my best to get a turn in there, and I used a lot of glue. And overall, it wasn't the prettiest prime job, but it definitely was solid, and there was no leaks whatsoever. And after I got everything glued together, I started putting in these little pipe holders that are made out of copper. And I just wanted to add some extra strength to the piping, as well as hold the piping in place. And that little bit of reassurance just overall is going to help out, because you don't know if the seams would bust or the top of it would dislocate from the standpipe, and then you're just pushing water all over the floor. And it was just a small price to pay for a little bit of reassurance. Now, with the pipe that goes into the aquarium, I really wasn't digging the white piping. So I did a little bit of research online, and apparently there is a type of spray paint that is reef safe. I'm not 100% sure on this. I did a lot of research on a lot of forums, and Krylon Fusion, which wasn't very easy to find. I had to go to a little mom and pop hardware store to get some. Is apparently reef safe. If it's 100% cured before it enters the tank. And so what I did is I picked some up in flat black, and I grabbed my PVC pipe that was entering the aquarium, and I gave it a spray. And I hit it from a couple different angles because there was a little bit of white on the inside, and I just wanted to make sure that there was no white on it whatsoever. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it 100%. And I was going to make sure every piece of white on that pipe was covered and that it got the time that it needed to cure. And overall, it looks pretty good. It is very hard to see. This is a very, focused shot of it. But when you're looking at the entire aquarium, it's very hard to see. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you guys for joining me. If you're new to Mad Hatter's Reef, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'll see you guys next time right here with a brand new video.